Imagine a world where survival is more than just a challenge, it's actually an art. Welcome to the day before, guys. We're going to be diving deep and talking about the 10 things that the game needs to nail to make sure that it has a successful launch. Now, granted, these are not going to have to be perfect as the game is not fully releasing, but they at least need to be at least 70% working and functioning. The first one's going to be the game loop, and the game loop is extremely important because as of right now, we really don't know too much about what the game loop is. What exactly are we supposed to do in the game? So what we do know is the fact that you're going to be able to go into New York, loot, but after you loot and find your items, you have to survive either the zombies or the PvP engagement. But after that, what else is there to do? We do know that there are quests that are going to be given to us by NPCs, but what theoretically is the end goal of the game? Currently right now we don't know, but if the game does a really good job at having a very good game loop where you have to go find different items that have maybe different rarities, or you need to find different items to build your base better, or you need to go and find items to get money, which is the world currency, to upgrade your cabin, to buy cars, then this is a very good game loop that's going to have people replaying it over and over. So I think one of the key elements that the game needs to have is a very enjoyable, robust, and meaningful game loop to be able to keep us hooked. The next thing is going to be meaningful POIs. Now, this is going to be really important for the success of the game. And when I mean meaningful POIs, are points of interest. As we already know, the game is going to feature a mall, it's going to have a stadium, it's going to have a skyscraper, and these are already POIs that we currently know that the game is coming with, but these need to be meaningful. What I mean by this is that these need to be locations that you're not only able to identify, but you're also able to identify based on rarity of loot and also rarity of engagement when it comes to PvP. For example, if you played games like The Division, if you played games like DMZ, there are certain locations within the map that you as a player are able to avoid for a large amount of PvP engagement. There are also areas where you are able to go to where there is a specific loot that is beneficial for a specific task. Now, the reason why this is important is because they're going to be different sets of teams actually playing. There's going to be solo players, there's going to be duels, there's going to be trios, there's going to be quads. And sometimes some POIs are going to be more beneficial if you go as a solo player, and some POIs might be more beneficial if you go in with a full squad or a full team. And this is the reason why I feel POIs are extremely important and that they are meaningful when you're playing the game. Number 3, guys, is going to be secrets. Now, this has already been stated by the team that there are going to be certain locations within the game that are going to have some sort of secrecy. Now, we don't know what they mean by this, if this is equivalent to Easter eggs, or this is equivalent to finding certain weapons that are going to be maybe not in a rarity form, like not your purples, your greens, your legendaries, but maybe have attachments already in place, or there are weapons that are not commonly known, or they have, you know, like usually when you're playing a game, there's some weapons like you have an assault rifle, but there is a weapon that's an assault rifle but has a specific name to it, kind of like if you're playing The Division, you know, very reminiscent weapon is the Eagle Bearer. It was an assault rifle, but the name of the weapon was the Eagle Bearer, and it had a specific perk tied to that weapon that gave you a huge benefit when shooting someone or when killing a different NPCs. I don't know if that's what sort of section they're leaning towards, but I do want to know from you guys, what would you rather prefer? Would you rather prefer the secrecy to be Easter eggs, or would you rather prefer that the secrets that are found in the game be specific items that are going to make your gameplay more enjoyable, and not only that, but give you a little bit of an edge if you actually find these secret areas and secret items? Number 4 is weapons, and this is going to be primarily focusing on weapon customizations. As we already know, the game will feature weapon customizations where we're going to be able to apply muscles, we're going to be able to upgrade our magazines, we're going to be able to add different sets of, I wouldn't say mods, but attachments to these weapons. But it's going to be extremely important that we have a wide variety of weapons. I just don't want to be running around with just an assault rifle and basically I find and go loot another area, there's another assault rifle. I want to have a large amount of weapons within my arsenal that I could probably use. Anything from a crossbow all the way to like a rocket. That would be an amazing way to make sure that the game is pretty solid. because everybody wants to play the little game differently. Everybody has a huge advantage. And remember, they are armor vehicles in the game, and kind of confronting an armor vehicle with like the same weapon is not going to be so viable. It would be amazing if you were able to see a vehicle and kind of set an ambush. You have two people with rocket launchers ready for that armor vehicle to pass by, shoot those rocket launchers, blow up, and then go collect the loot. So I think weapons are going to be a crucial point in this game, and if we have a wide variety of weapons in our arsenal, will make the game stand out. Number 5, we're going to be talking about the looting system, and the reason why we're going to be mentioning this is because I want and I need this game to have a very good looting system where there's risk involved and there is reward involved. Now, I played multiple extraction shooters, I played multiple survival games, and one of the biggest components that some of these games tend to miss is that there are really good rewards, but there is no risk involved of you losing that item. And in addition to that, I've also played games where there is kind of high risk, but the rewards are really bad. I think if this game wants to nail it, this could be one of the things that sets it completely apart if they're able to capitalize on a high risk and a high reward system, where you get stuff when you obtain them, there is a fear factor of you losing them where you try to avoid getting killed. And there's also that risk and that fear that you want to go grab that item, and that item is so rare that you know you have to risk it for the biscuit. Currently right now, I think if this game is able to apply this to its perfection, even if they were to get this 70% right, I think it would be a huge gigantic step to making this game really enjoyable. Number 6 is going to be character customization, but I want meaningful character customization. What this means is that the trait system that is currently found in the game, if you don't know, there is a trait system that gives you perks that give you an advantage and a disadvantage. You want to know a little bit more about that, I highly recommend you guys check out my video where I go over every single trait in the game. But I feel like this needs to be meaningful in the sense where you get a big advantage if you apply a certain trait, and you get a big disadvantage when you apply another trait. Now, in addition to this, we also know that the character customization has a personality feature that allows you to kind of determine what type of personality your character has. Now, based on what we've seen so far within the game, I think if this actually comes into fruition, the way they've expressed this is supposed to work, I think there's going to be a very pivotal point that makes you identify not only yourself with the character, but gives you different personalities and different traits for different characters that you might be able to customize. Number 7 is working servers. Now, this is going to be extremely important because one of the biggest issues I've had with multiple games that have like promising that when you play them, they're really good. One of the things that sets these games apart from being top notch and people enjoying them is the server. If the server is not good and people are getting disconnected, people are not able to log in, if people are trying to play with their friends and they can't party up, this could be a deal breaker for a lot of people. So they need to actually nail this one to a T and have working servers that are not going to be crashing or not going to be having an issue. They should already know there is a ton of hype for this game. I'm pretty sure they already know the number of sales that the game currently has to determine what type of server maintenance they need to do before the game launches. I think this could be one of those big points where if everything is good but this is bad, could be one of those big downfall items that could hurt the game exponentially. Number 8 is going to be a great economy system, and as you guys already know, there are coins found in the game called Woodbury coins, and these particular coins are able to be obtainable by looting and selling items. Now, the reason why I want to pinpoint this particular topic is because sometimes when you go to certain games that I played an extensive amount of games, is the coin system is there, but there is really no purpose of that coin system. You get the coins and you maybe buy a backpack, maybe buy a gun, but after that, there really is no particular purpose for this coin system. That's why I feel like if they actually nail this one as well and give the economy system a purposeful option, I think it's going to be a huge viable part to tie into one of my first things that I mentioned, which is the game mode. Because if you're able to collect these coins and maybe upgrade your car, buy it tires, or upgrade your camp, or do any thing that's meaningful where you're constantly want to collect these coins, then I think that would be exponentially very beneficial, not only to the game loop, but also to the engagement that we'll have within Woodbury. Number 9 is going to be graphics. And the reason why I want to mention graphics is because this is another deal breaker when it comes to games that release early and games that don't even get a chance to, live up to the hype. This is the reason why you want to avoid frame drops. You want to avoid game crashes when it comes to the graphics. Doesn't really matter if the game has bad fidelity. What tends to matter is if the game is being choppy, if it's not being able to process correctly, if it's not having a good solid system where you are constantly crashing while you're playing in the game, especially in these type of games when you're going to go and loot and you might have some really good loot and the game crashes for you. This actually hurts a lot. And if this happens quite often when the game launches, this could be a major deal breaker. So graphics department should be one of the things that should be definitely prioritized, because as you guys have seen other games where the graphics are kind of not performing well, there's multiple crashes, Cyberpunk being one of the most infamous games out there, then this could be a complete failure for the game. At number 10, guys, we're going to be talking about the AntiCheat System. Now, this is going to be one of the biggest things, especially when you're playing these type of games that are extraction shooters or games where there is a high reward and a lot of risk involved. The anti-cheat system actually needs to be in full throttle, and it needs to do two major things. Number one, not ban people who are not cheating, because Call of Duty being one of those games where people get banned even though they're not cheating, just false reporting. It's a big predominant thing in that game. And number two is actually catching the cheaters who are actually cheating. So if people are flying around the map and shooting people from the air, then you definitely want to make sure you get rid of that. If people are under the map and shooting people from the bottom, then you definitely want to make sure you target that. And basically all those cheats that people use to get an upper hand to kill the enemies, especially since this is a very PvP centered game, this is going to be one of the crucial aspects of the game that could be a huge integral part of making the game a little bit more enjoyable, more fun, and of course definitely more dynamic. Now, we've explored the 10 crucial elements that I think could make the Day Before a groundbreaking hit, definitely in this late 2023. Now, if you guys are excited about the Day Before, I want to know what are your things that you prioritize that you think will make the game successful. And if you are super hyped for tomorrow and for today when the release of the game comes out, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more insights into the Day Before and how to become a better player in the game. Make sure you guys stay tuned for more gaming content, and remember, in the Day Before, every choice counts and matters.